Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Matt and John Make a Podcast. This is episode 53, and we got some good topics to talk about, mostly sports, as the usual. We're going to talk about the NHL. The first round is underway. We give our predictions on who we think is going to win through just mostly through games two. And a little locally, the Pittsburgh Penguins made some coaching changes, and we'll talk about that. In college football, some conferences are canceling the fall season and postponing it to the spring, and others are full steam ahead for the most part. But first, we're going to talk about some UFC. We have a pay-per-view this Saturday or tonight, depending on when you're watching. It is UFC 252, headlined by Stipe and DC 3. And I know you've been saying, and I think you said pretty much DC has confirmed it, that this most likely could be his last fight. So yeah, we're going to talk about who we think, or mostly John. He's more of the expert in the UFC, if I should say so myself. And our takes and give the odds and whatnot. So UFC 252, like I said, this might be, or most likely, DC's last professional fight.
Yeah, it's kind of what I am expecting, and it's been essentially what like DC what DC has been saying essentially a week, and pretty much throughout the build to this whole fight. I mean, unless Uncle Dana just backs up the like freaking money truck and gives him say a John Jones at heavyweight. I just don't see him fighting again, and he's been pretty consistent too with DC. He wants to essentially go out how GSP went out, which he went out as champion, and that's been something that has been a big motivator for him, and I think that would be the absolute best choice for him. He's now 42, and as Matt, he's heavy into commentating. He has a very successful podcast on ESPN with Ariel Helwani. So it just I feel that it's definitely time. And if DC wins this fight, which I think he is indeed going to. I mean, there's a really good argument that he is the absolute best heavyweight of all time. Because outside of his last fight, I think before that fight, he had not lost a single round at heavyweight, which is ridiculous. But he's been a two-time light heavyweight champion, and if he were to obviously win on tonight's show, he would be a two-time heavyweight champion, which is something we will probably never see again. It's just especially now with just how tough that the competition is, and it's very interesting, but it's going to be very telling though, because even leading up for this fight, Dana White, he's been asked about DC and if he believes that this is it, and Dana has shot down every single thought of that. He was saying he will find a way to keep DC coming back, which I think honestly that they are trying to eventually do him versus John Jones at heavyweight, because to me, especially at heavyweight, Matt, that fight would probably do around 1.5, I would say pretty close to probably 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. I'm very convinced of that, but as far as this current fight though, the one thing I really look at though, and before in their second fight, up until I would say round 4, DC was winning that fight pretty handily, but I would agree that he got a little bit cocky, and number 2, I think he was just completely gassed. And you could definitely tell in that 4th round, and DC has been talking all through this build of him. He's going to be using his wrestling more, which I feel like is going to, it was being really successful, and actually in the earlier rounds with him, DC, he was really holding down Stipe in those fights, but it just he couldn't keep it going through in the 4th round, and then eventually with those body shots, Stipe he finished him. But I think that's going to be a little bit of the difference here. And I did see when they officially weighed in, I believe DC was at 236, and Stipe, he was at 233, which is pretty much around essentially with their same weight from their second fight. So I don't see a real advantage there either way. But Matt, as you saw from the odds there, it's essentially is a like pick'em fight.
Yeah.
I'm, as I said, I'm leaning towards DC, and then I feel like that the thing that's going to take him to with that win is his wrestling there, because it was the one consistent thing that we have seen that was giving Stipe issues. It wasn't until he started hitting those body shots consistently, and I just think with DC, he's way too smart, he's way too talented, he's way too athletic, and he is such a better wrestler. I just feel like that's going to be what is going to set him over the top there,
Yeah, like you said, the odds are a toss-up. This is the odds via DraftKings. DC's minus 114, and Stipe is minus 106.
Yep.
So DC slight favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe to go a little bit in depth, they have the favorite for total rounds over 2.5, minus 148 to under plus 110.
Mm-hmm.
To go to distance, the favorite right now is no.
Yeah,
minus 225.
I mean, especially if you were just basing it off of their previous fights, it just seems really unlikely, and that's been pretty much with heavyweight in general, Matt. It just not too many fights. There's especially in like title fights go all 5 rounds. And I fully expect that here. So I'm gonna go with DC there. As far as some other fights, with the co-main there between Sean O'Malley versus versus Marlon Vera, which this is definitely Sean's biggest test to this point. As we saw him, he has he's KO'd guys such as Eddie Wineland. I think before that, I forget who he knocked out prior to that, but essentially they have been building up this kid who is a crazy technical striker, hits hard and knocks guys out. It's going to be a little bit harder. I feel this time around. He's facing a guy who has won 6 of his last 7 fights. He's facing a guy who is just as long as he is. Is a very good BJJ guy. A really good striker. So it's going to be a very interesting test. But I do feel that O'Malley, he's going to eventually have this win. I just feel like it could go all on 3 rounds though. But I think with a victory here, he probably gets a top 7 guy. So I'm not sure if he would face a like John Dodson or someone who is a little bit more competitive. And actually, let me pull up the current 135 rankings now, because as we see it right now, Sean O'Malley, he's currently ranked up 14th, and he's obviously fighting he's obviously fighting a guy who is not ranked, but I could see him possibly facing a Jimmy Rivera as a possibility. Sansao, I could also see that. There was definitely some eventual steam to possibly do him versus Cody Garbrandt, but as we saw, I believe it was announced earlier this week that actually Cody, he's gonna be fighting the 125 flyweight champion. I'm trying to remember this guy's name here, but Figueiredo. He's gonna be fighting him in October. So obviously that is off the plans there. So yeah, we're going to be seeing how good that Sean O'Malley really is. It's a very interesting test, but I do think that he will definitely come out on top there.
Yep, he's a good favorite at minus 286 compared to Vera's plus 225.
But I will say though, Vera, he's a very interesting underdog to possibly take here. He does present some pretty interesting issues for Sean. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And you also have Junior Dos Santos versus Rosenstruck, who is coming off a devastating KO against Francis and Ngannou, which that was 13 seconds of just throwing just wild ass punches, and Francis he knocked him dead, which is pretty much who Francis does to everyone, not named Stipe or Derek Lewis. So I definitely this fight here, I don't know. It's a toss up. I don't like how quickly or that Rosenstruck is coming back, especially for how devastating that he was KO'd in his previous fight, and like Dos Santos, his chin is essentially gone at this point. I'm like slightly leaning towards Rosenstruck here, but I don't have a lot of confidence in this fight. If I feel like if you are thinking of like betting on this here, try and avoid it here. It's just I wouldn't feel too confident about either of these guys.
If you're
winning here,
the fun fact here in the stats on DraftKings, the favorite has won each of Junior Dos Santos' last 7 UFC fights.
Yep.
And the favorite in this match, slight favorite, is Rosenstruck, strike or whatever, minus 136. So if you're going on history there, that's fight. Yeah, this is more. The odds are more of a toss up. Like I said, he's Rosenstruck is minus 136, and Junior Dos Santos is slight underdog at plus 108.
Yeah. But again, if I had to pick someone with a gun to my head, I'm probably picking Rosenstruck.
Yeah.
Also, 2 other fights I am keeping an eye on as well. Daniel Pineda versus Herbert Burns, who I found out this morning he was 4 pounds overweight. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell was this guy doing? But he is overweight. So Daniel Pineda, he will get 30 or I think it's 20% or 30% of Herbert's purse there. But Herbert Burns, he was really impressive in like his previous fight. And this is a potential building block. He's obviously is a younger brother of Gilbert Burns, who was supposed to be fighting for the title at like 170, but unfortunately he tested positive for COVID, so he obviously had to back out. And then for the final fight, John Dodson versus I'm not gonna even try to even pronounce the name, but this kid he's a really good wrestler. It's going to be interesting if John if he can stop those takedowns, which that should be something to definitely keep an eye on. It should be a pretty fun card, Matt. Definitely the thing that's probably going to be the absolute most important thing is do we see DC retire as champion, or do we see him just some kind of go off in the sunset, not as champion? So I'm very excited about this card. It should be a pretty fun card. Nothing really too much about that, Matt, unless you got anything else.
Just to cover the odds of the last 2 fights. We have Herbert Burns, the favorite, at minus 286, with Pineda underdog at plus 225. And Burns has won his last 4 out of 5 pro MMA fights by submission. His last 2 in UFC. Back in June, he won submission against Dunham, and in January, he won by TKO in the first round. So he's undefeated so far in the UFC. Pineda is coming on a 2-fight losing streak. The last 2 by decision. The last fight, is that true? In 2014, apparently, according to the DraftKings here. against Whiteford. 'Cause that's the last fight I have. March of 2014. That can't be right. Is that right?
Yeah,
But
man.
he's lost his last 4 out
Who-
of 5.
Who is this, Matt?
Panetta.
Okay. Yeah.
Or it's 4 out of 6.
Yeah, I would feel pretty good about
Yeah.
Herbert Burns.
And then we go to the opening contest. How do you say that? Marab, you probably said it.
no.
Valshevli or
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm not gonna.
Is
said.
Is that
yeah. I was like, I'm not gonna even
was the
try
favorite,
and pronounce.
Was
that.
the favorite 240 favorite
Yeah.
over John Donson
Yeah.
at plus 188.
Yeah, I would feel pretty good. About his chances.
Let's see here. Marab has won each of his last 4 UFC fights by a decision, and 6 of John Dodson's last 7 UFC fights have gone the distance.
Yeah.
And that's the favorite minus 305 to go the distance on that.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson has lost his last 3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
But his last fight in February of this year,
Right before COVID.
right before COVID, he won by TKO by I guess left hook is his ground and pound here, but his other fights besides have lost by decision or won.
Right.
Marab, whatever, he's won his last 4 fights, all by decision. His last fight coming against Lopez in June, and then February of this year, again by decision. So there you go. And yeah, so I guess that is the UFC card for tonight, later tonight on the Saturday, depending on when you're watching this. Should be, like you said, should be a good one. Me personally, just name recognition, just looking at the main event. That's what everybody's eyes are on.
Yep.
With that.
Yeah, and probably the absolute biggest thing coming out of this week is definitely college football.
Yep.
So pretty much as of currently, as we are currently recording on Friday night, we have both with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have basically come out and said, hey, we are completely postponing everything, and they're possibly looking in the spring to possibly have some more games.
And then interject real quick. And then yesterday, apparently the NCAA president said no fall championships this year, except for football for now.
Yeah.
So you have that, and it's gonna be, if you already have 2. I don't know how that's gonna work if you have 2 conferences and you have the Big Ten. That's
the only thing I can possibly think of is they probably have whoever the ACC winner is and the SEC winner is, and they just have them fight out for the national champion, which has been happening anyways for like the last few years. But
in practicality, how are you gonna have that and then the other conferences that want to have football in the spring, what are they going to do? Just fight all how can you have a national champion crown?
You can't.
like practical. You can say, okay, obviously you assume that you have a SEC or ACC team like a Clemson or SEC, like an Alabama. Or Auburn. I don't know. I'm just throwing teams out there.
Yeah, I just don't see any way that they're going to have any games.
I would,
and especially too with a lot of those teams' players are going to be declaring for the NFL draft. Honestly, if you're any of those players, and hypothetically, if the XFL is still around, you should definitely probably consider that over this, because at least over there you will actually be able to get paid there. So I just don't think that I just don't think that whole thing is very feasible because then you are going to have to go back into the season in like what 3 or like 4 months after that. It just seems really counterproductive.
I just think that if everybody's already starting to move to the spring or postpone to the spring, how you cannot just have a season. You can't have 2 seasons, and I think you either all go in at once, you all do the spring, or nobody does anything.
Right.
And nobody's going to do nothing. Nobody's going to do anything. Okay, that's double negative there. You're no way that the NCAA is not going to have a football season. No way.
No.
The money.
There's way too much money because apparently, Matt, and I'm just talking about strictly for Alabama. Supposedly, without any games this year, they would lose over $2 billion for not playing any games. $2 billion to their local economy, which is
there is I saw an article as
ridiculous.
That like just local economies for like any of those teams will be hurt in the fall because you don't have people coming. You don't have hotels. You don't have local restaurants, local establishments. Name something else. I like the economy in the fall if everything's pushed back, which obviously 2 are. It's going to take a beating. So I don't know. I say it's all for one and one for all in this because I don't know how, unless I'm totally missing something, and I haven't seen anybody talk about this yet. But like, how can you have, like I said, how can you have just for the 2 SEC and ACC play, and then a couple months later, finally the Big Ten and Pac-12 play? What's a national champion? Like,
no. Like I guarantee
you're gonna have those people who are play, find a grand champion, and sit there and wait until everybody else play. Like how?
No,
it's
not going to happen. No, because I guarantee you, if there's even thought of that, the NCAA is going to say no, since we're going to be having games within like 4, 5, or 6 months. It's just stupid. So
they got to make a decision soon.
Yeah, which I mean, like with the Big Ten and the Pac-12, like they're considering that. I mean, you could try, but I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. And if you have been following up with the ACC, they are dead set. They are not even considering canceling any games. They're full steam ahead as things go. I mean, you started on like Monday hearing rumors everywhere about the Big Ten, and once that just kept on going, I was like, man, I was just, I mean, like there was a lot of really pissed off people that the commissioner of the Big Ten decided to cancel it all of the games, because I believe there was only 2 people who voted to have games canceled. I could be wrong about that, but pretty much everyone else wanted to continue to play football because everyone knew, hey, we're losing a lot of revenue by sitting out, and at the end of the day, man, that's what it all comes down to. It's like, are you willing to basically fork over billions of dollars if if you're not sure how dangerous that this thing really is, it just kind of depends where you feel how safe that everyone is going to be. And now for the conferences that have canceled everything, and I was thinking about this as well, Matt, is like as for those kids who a ton of them would come from absolute poverty, it's going to be a tough adjustment for them because unless some colleges are different, I think a lot of them are doing a lot of them of online stuff. Pretty much everywhere is online. At least here in like Pennsylvania. Anyways, so it's such a freaking weird thing, and I was really nervous when this whole thing started back in like March. I was like, no one is thinking about this now, but what if this stretches out all the way onto football? How in the hell are they going to do any of this?
I don't know. I don't know. And here we are.
But the NFL so far, anyways, things are fine as now as everyone is into training camp. But I believe starting next week is when padded practices begin. So we're gonna get a really good idea then at how safe that everyone is going to be. But as we have seen, Matt, without any bubble, it's been rough. Just look at like Major League Baseball right now.
I think there was no, it wasn't baseball. I don't know. I think there were more cases there. I think wrestling. I think there was more positive cases. I think specifically the WWE.
Yep.
But look at the NHL with their bubble and the playoffs are going.
Zero.
Zero. Nobody's tested positive.
NBA zero.
So
MLS zero.
The bubbles work.
Yep.
I don't no argument against it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Something is going. I can tell. I just know because it's the NFL players and a lot of them act stupid. That somebody's going to go somewhere in a strip club or what have you,
happen, yeah.
And there's gonna be a case, and then somebody, so and so tested positive. I think even wasn't there already people that tested positive already or opted out?
Yeah. So there was definitely people who tested positive who had to quarantine for 2 weeks, and then pass at least 1 or 2 tests. Because I know in like Major League Baseball, I think it's like you have to quarantine for 10 days and then pass two
negative.
Two negatives.
Because I got for work for school guidelines for return back to school and all that protocols and all that fun stuff, and one of them was if you travel somewhere to a state, what have you, that's high risk, which there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's funny how PA's on the list. Well, let me just quarantine right now.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to quarantine for 14 days or get 2 negative tests within 48 hours, for the span between 48 hours and between, or something like that.
Right.
So I'm going to assume it's 2 there. So that's going to be interesting. As soon as something happens, you get a team with like 2 players, and let's say the season, early on in the season, or even in training camp.
I saw
it's going to be here we go again.
I saw a story earlier this week that some cornerback of the Seattle Seahawks, he got cut because he tried bringing in a lady friend with their team hotel, and the organization, they found out. They're like, well, see ya, buddy.
See, this is exactly what I'm telling you.
Yeah,
People NFL players are stupid. No, not okay. That's a blanket statement, but you see it a lot.
Horny. And very horny.
You see it a lot. How there's players, young players, do something stupid.
Yeah, it's just I mean, like, and hell, you were even seeing it in the NBA when Lou Williams, he went to the strip club to get some chicken wings, and I'm like,
That's funny.
and he was previously because his grandfather died, and he wanted to go for his funeral, but then he goes to the strip club, and man, could you imagine if he contacted it there, he gets back in the bubble, that would affect everybody.
Oh.
Could you imagine the backlash that would have gotten? Just the selfishness, like, of some people who just.
If I'm an owner, I'd be like, he might be cut. Or just trade gone. Out.
Yeah, the only problem with that is
well, not now. But.
Yeah, but the problem is to like in like Major League Baseball, all of those contracts are 100% guaranteed. So
a buyout. I'll buy him out. His stupid ass out.
Yeah, that was just that could have been really bad. But getting back onto college football, though, I still hope that we do get college football. I'm not very optimistic that we're gonna be until I actually see that games are being kicked off. And we're actually seeing them physically play. I'm not going to really believe that this is going to actually happen. Yep. And same thing with the NFL as well. And speaking of black and football, did the state of PA come down with a decision?
No, they're gonna have a meeting, or at least PIAA next Friday.
Okay, because
the 21st.
Okay, because I saw something earlier today where they said that they're gonna be deciding on some vote. I wasn't sure if they said we're going to continue, just obviously without fans, but as far as the other sports are concerned, I believe all of those have been canceled too,
or at least
or at least postponed.
At least practices right now.
Mm-hmm.
If anything is postponed or canceled, that's what they're talking about.
Right.
At least or PAAA or the organization and locally the WPIAL, Western PA. I think they want to go forward with sports.
Right.
And they're upset with the governor's recommendation, which apparently wasn't based on anything.
Wolfman, I tell you, man, he was
on in PA or anything like that. There was contradiction, I think, from the health secretary. Says, that wasn't based on local. I don't know.
Yeah, man, with the Wolfman, he was just like, we highly recommend that you guys cancel or postpone these sports, and like you could just see just how enraged that all of those PIAA people were, because they've been under the assumption pretty much since this whole thing began back in March, that they would eventually be able to still continue games once the fall comes around. So I completely understand that there. I feel like that there's been a really bad communication from the governor's office, and two, and especially like if you recall, Matt, when the state said no to the Toronto Blue Jays to having
home games at PNC
yeah,
Park.
to having home games at PNC Park. So it just I just feel like that there hasn't been a lot of communication on both of those ends as well there.
Yep. So from one sport to another, we have the NHL playoffs going on right now. Now in the first round, we have so far we can give or who we think is going to win the series, even though they've already started. Just going through the day so far, the Canadians.
Yeah, what the hell got into them today? 5-0 over Philly.
Yeah, I guess they found that game. I saw a couple of highlights. They get in front of that. They got their bounces, and Corey Hart was pulled. I think maybe after the second or during the second. So that series is tied 1-1.
Is Vegas up 2-0 on Chicago, or is it 1-0 right now?
It's they won in overtime last night. They're up 2-0.
Okay, yeah,
to Vegas.
So, yeah.
So I still think I'm still thinking the Flyers will edge out, but I
mean,
but Montreal is just playing tough. They lost only 2-1, and I believe in game 1, if I'm not mistaken.
And on top of that, they have an extremely hot goaltender right now.
Yeah.
And man, as we have seen so many times, a hot goaltender can take you a long way in the Stanley Cup, and it's very hard to get anything past Carey Price.
Yeah. So far, he's let in only 2 goals through 2 games, where the Flyers have let in 6. Corey Hart, I don't think
goaltending he's
probably let in a total of 4. I don't know because they switch. I forget how many. It's surprising. Even that Flyers Canadian in game 1 was still it was close.
Right.
It was a competitive, close game with the Flyers edging out the Canadians. Now the Canadians come in and just lay the smacketh down on the Flyers in this game 2. But we've seen in the past a blowout doesn't necessarily mean series over. Us Penguin fans have been on
all too often
during the playoffs, but guess what? When was it 16 or 17? I think for both years, I think we lost 5-2. Something got smacked by the Capitals, ended up winning that series. That was game 5, and then
momentum can switch just so
and then
easily.
Ottawa series, I think we lost.
We won a game 7-0.
Oh yeah, that was Predators, I think.
No, that was Ottawa in game 5.
But I think we in against the Predators.
Oh yeah,
game 5-2.
I think we won it was 4-1 or 5-1.
I thought it was 7-0. I thought we got 7 goals.
No, that was definitely with the Ottawa.
I'm
with the Ottawa game. I vaguely remember.
Yeah, it's right there, 6-0, game 5. It's on your poster.
Is it bad? I do not recall that game at all.
It's 6-0. There we go, 6-0. There you go.
Wow.
And,
I know.
I remember that vividly.
I don't remember that game at all. Maybe it's because
it was such a blowout.
Yeah, well, that and two for a lot of those games, I get so amped up and so nervous that I'll just forget half of the things.
I remember
happened.
The games we win.
Chris Kunitz in Game 7.
Game 7 and the Eastern Conference. I remember Game 6 of the finals that year. How I celebrated when Hornquist got that goal with about minute 35.
I nearly had a freaking heart attack.
I jumped up and did the double fist.
Yeah.
I remember. I
was pacing. I was like, fuck. God damn it. Don't do this to me, pal.
and being nervous for Game 7s through those 2 years. And I remember like what games, watching highlights. I was either at the Pirate game working, or like if I was walking home. I remember like 2016, the first round against the Rangers. Guess it was Game 1 when I went to the walked back to the casino to watch the game, and it was like 2-1 or something like that. And I just remember you guys. Yeah, I think it was you and Phil. We were group chatting saying I was the jinx because it was 2-1 because I was watching, and all of a sudden we scored a shorthanded goal to make it like 3-1 or something, and we kind of coasted to that. But I remember like at least the years we went, I vividly remember the games. Like like last year, I totally forgot we got swept.
I didn't. I wish I could.
Like 2018, I know we lost to the Capitals the second round. If you put a gun to my head right now, I don't know who we played in the first round.
That was Columbus.
I don't remember. Yep. And I don't remember any specifics of any of those games.
Actually, no. I think we beat on Philadelphia. Actually, no, it was in Philadelphia.
Oh, see, sorry. I could have believed you.
Yep.
But it was
because
17.
Because I was pulling hard. Because I was pulling hard in 2018 for Columbus to beat to finally because I'm so sick and tired of every second round of constantly facing the freaking Caps every single year. It's been like every single year. It's like felt like
18, 17, 16, 09.
It drives you insane. But so that was constantly happening. And while we're on the topic of let's get this out of the way before we get into our predictions here, Matt. What was your initial reaction when the Penguins announced that they had essentially fired or not given contract extensions to Sergei Gonchar, Mark Recchi, and what's his name again?
Jacques Martin.
And Jacques Martin.
I was like, and it begins. Not surprised.
I was stunned. All three of them were good. I could see like one go, but all three I was like,
I think this was Rutherford, our GM, saying, you know what, last year, this year, unacceptable. I'm putting my foot down, and here's a warning shot. And pretty much if few Penguin fans have been following people such as Josh Yowie of the Athletic, he's been pretty much hitting. You're going to be seeing a lot of shit that's going to be going down. And the very first name that pops into my mind, Matt, is Matt Murray. I just do not see a scenario, unless he just accepts a very cheap contract, that this team is going to be bringing him back. He's a possibility. And another guy who I could see as a possible trade candidate is possibly Chris Letang. Just because with his $7 million, possibly.
I'm going to see. I think you're going to see where Rutherford's going to see if he can possibly have someone take him.
I think because you're probably going to lose Schultz because he's out.
I'm like, he gone. Yeah.
I don't know who anybody. I don't have the contracts in front of me. I'm going to see who he signed and who he signs in the off season. I think that's going to be a big thing, determining possibly Letang. I'm sure he'll listen. Yeah. I don't think he wants to per se. And I think we can throw the Malkin trade talk away.
It's not gonna happen.
That's all this has always happened.
Well, and supposedly,
and even in years past when they lost,
and supposedly they almost had him dealt, but until Sid stepped in and said absolutely not. And
some of them might have. I gotta find this up. A no trade clause, and I think Malkin does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he does. And it was also announced. It was also announced for this week. Penguins, they are going to be keeping with their first overall pick. So that means
15th. Yep.
Yeah. So that means in 2021 the Penguins will be giving their 2021 first round pick to the Minnesota Wild there, which that completes their trade for Jason Zucker. But as I'm seeing with the contracts now, Matt.
Wait, wait, it's not a no trade. It's an.
Yeah.
I know Patrick Hornqvist has no trade clause.
Yeah.
But defense. Letang has a modified no trade clause.
Mm-hmm.
He's lists 18 teams he can be traded to. So there's at least 18. If you want to, there's 18 teams we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Well, it's too late now because he can be unrestricted. Same thing with Justin Schultz. Yeah, there's that. I'm trying to figure out what NMC means. But okay, so who's on the free agent docket this year? We have Connor Sheary unrestricted, Evan Rodriguez restricted. They might possibly bring him back.
I think they'll probably come back.
Jared McCann restricted. Anthony Angelo, he's restricted. They might just sign him. I can see him sign him real quick. Sam Lafferty restricted. I could see him sign it. He's making, in relative terms, chump change for now with, I think, either a rookie contract, what have you.
Dominic Simone,
he's restricted. Yeah, because they're both, like I said, Anthony Angelo, Sam Lafferty, entry level contract. Patrick Marleau, he's probably gone. He's unrestricted. On defense, Schultz unrestricted. Yuso Ricola restricted. They probably bring him back.
I think comes back.
He's making jump change.
And both Jari and like Matt Murray are currently restricted free agents.
Yeah.
I think they only bring back one of those guys there. And if I had to pick, I'm probably picking Jari. But I mean, it just because I do feel that whether it's a Toronto or an Edmonton is going to go after Murray,
and he's gonna make bank.
Exactly, and I just don't see. And two, it just with the past few years, the Penguins have not been paying top dollar for their goaltender. After Fleury left, so I mean, if you're them, I mean, like especially on top of the injury history of Murray, plus with his inconsistent play, I would take my chances on Tristan Jarry and Casey D. Smith for next season.
Because projected cap space as of now, with the roster size for next year projected at 15 because of on contracts expiring and all that, they have just over 13 million in cap space, with the upper limit being 81.5 million. So there is a little bit of wiggle room, but and then maybe the minor people. They sign, or if they do a trade, possibly whatever those 18 teams, possibly if you do Chris Letang, by some miracle, if he does a Jack Johnson trade.
Honestly, I mean, like I wouldn't be against a And it's like both of those guys going because as much as I love Letang and just like admire everything that he has done for this team, it's just, I mean, like, he at what he's currently making,
7.2.
right? It's just like his production as of now is not warranted for that. And
he signed through 2022.
Yeah, so basically the same time.
Same thing with Malkin.
Yeah, so basically,
And
Sid.
Brian Rust.
Yeah, Sid. He signed through 2024 and 2025.
Yep.
But essentially
And
after
that might be it.
Yeah, I definitely expect him, Sid. He'll be done after that because he'll be
38.
Yeah,
ish. Yeah, around 38.
Yeah, he'll be 38. I'm not even sure if
He's 33 now.
He's 33 now. So like this is it for this current crop of guys. I mean, because outside of like Jake, who's 25, and you have some other guys who are in their upper 20s, like,
yeah, there's,
I mean,
the rest of the team is pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of Malkin at 34, he's
Mhm.
going to be probably 36 when his contract's up.
Yep.
After the 21-22 season.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Crosby. Patrick Hornquist, he's signed through 2023, and he's 33, so he'll be 30, 44, 35, 36-ish.
Yeah,
So he'll probably be through, unless they possibly, well, he has a no trade clause, so he's around
Mm-hmm.
through them, and he's valuable, and he's probably be up then, and they'll probably let go because he's obviously close to 40.
Yeah.
And the older one is, well, he's pretty much done, is Patrick Marleau at 40.
Yeah.
So right now the average age of, well, the forwards is 28.4.
Mm-hmm.
And then the average age of defense, which is funny, is 28.4.
Yeah.
With Letang being the elder statesman and Jack Johnson at 33. Jack Johnson is signed through the 22-23 season, so that would make him,
God help us,
36. Letang, when his contract's up, will be about 35. So yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, the Rutherford, he has made some excellent trades. But man, there has been some signs. Jack Johnson is probably going to go down as probably their absolute worst. Their worst free agent sign. Why they gave this man a 5-year contract for what's he making, three and a quarter. It's just mind blowing to me. But I mean, they need to make some moves here. I mean, like, if you can try and get rid of a Letang Cole, but at the same time too, you're going to be making that a bigger hole on the blue line there, because if he is somehow traded, that means your top two defensemen, then it's probably Dumoulin and John Marino. And do not get me wrong, Marino was sensational this year, but as your top pair, that would make me very nervous.
There's Pedersen.
Mm-hmm.
He's due for a big jump in pay for next year, $4.025 million.
And he signed through 2024 and
2025.
So,
Rico, you have Ruedel. I mean, if he let Schultz go,
like Schultz is gone. There is no way in hell they are bringing him back after
he's making 5.5.
Yeah. If he's coming back, he's taking a major pay cut. Like, there is just no way that if you're Rutherford, that he's even sniffing 5.5, because especially from the last 2 seasons, his production has taken a massive drop. He has suffered a lot of injuries too on top of that. It's just, and on top of that, he is now 30 now. So like he's entering on the on the downside of his career now. So yeah. It's going to be very interesting, Matt. It's going to be a very interesting offseason.
Yes.
And obviously they have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their 7 draft picks this year. Which I looked, Matt. I look at 2021. They have like
Three.
They have 3 draft picks: a second round pick, a 5th round pick, and 2 7s. oh my God! Like just around the fridges. I mean, like if you're going to like trade some of these guys, definitely filling out some of those picks that they gave up there would definitely help. Like they need at least a 3rd or a freaking 4th there to kind of help out with that draft capital. But I mean,
I think if they're doing any trade,
mm-hmm.
It would affect 2022.
Yeah.
Since you have all of them right now. Yeah. I mean, you could still find diamonds in the rough in 2021. Right. 2020, they have around a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody who's turns out great is first round.
No.
It's kind of just a.
Hornquist is a really good example of that. He was.
What about hang on.
And like Jake, I think he was a 3rd round.
Let me see.
Pick. I'm pretty sure.
3rd round, 77th overall. So in 2013. So, and we see how that worked out, and that's a great pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, it obviously it helps.
Yep.
And we have one this year.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we don't get rid of any rest of them and pick rests. 2021 that's gonna be a crucial year.
Very.
And we'll see. And there's always free agent signings and whatnot.
Yeah.
And in 2022, depending draft trades and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
also, too, something else to think about as well is the expansion draft. On top of that.
Yeah, who you save?
Yep. Who do you save? I mean,
you unprotect Jack Johnson.
Yeah, you
unprotect Jack Johnson. This is your option. It'd be funny to see how it goes. Nah, nope. And you're like, damn it.
Like son of a bitch. Rutherford offer them a 1st round pick.
Offer them candy.
Offer them here's a piece of candy.
And it's gonna be interesting with that, with the forwards. I forget if they. I don't know if I don't think they set the parameters yet.
No.
Specifically for that, but like the goaltending, that would be interesting if somehow the contract with Murray was still going on through that, and they could just take him.
Yeah, that would have been like the best thing, but obviously with there being with both him and Jari being currently restricted guys, yep, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, and with Matt Murray, with him winning 2 cups, like I won 2 cups as a rookie, and I'm making this.
Yeah,
pay me.
And I guarantee you,
and he'll deserve the money.
Yeah, like, but
it's not smart business.
No, it's very bad business, especially when you are going to be strapped against the cap, as it is there. So it's just like I think you need to be smarter here. Pay Jari, who is not going to be costing you as much.
At least the penny initially.
No, I would resign Jari and if like Edmonton or whomever or whoever
Murray is
wants to
pay
pay
is gonna get a team.
I think he gets around 4 or 5 million per. I just don't see Rutherford matching that. It just
because I would say at least 5 because he's making 3.7 now, and the bump restricted. I could see high 4s, 5s. Yeah, for that. When I get back in the playoffs. Right now.
Yep.
So we talk about Flyers. so far today, and we can go back. The Avalanche beat the Coyotes 3-2. Colorado leads 2-0. Coyotes not out of it, but that's a big lead. So I'm going with. I think Colorado is just a good young team. Coyotes not there just yet. They're close. I'm saying Avalanche. I just don't see Phoenix or Arizona coming back from 2 down.
No,
especially if Colorado wins another one.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. Phoenix, they definitely have some pretty good pieces there. But yeah, they're still they're not there.
They're close. It's like Penguins in like 06.
Yep.
Like there's there, but add another piece or two and they can be good. Another game that's going on as we speak. This is game 2. It's Canucks and the Blues. Halfway through the second right now, with the Canucks up 1-0. Also 1-0 in the series. With the Blues, I believe this is 4-5. Seeds going.
You would think with St. Louis that they could get past Vancouver here, right? But
yeah, there's still a lot of time. I want to pull for the Blues, but I would not. As of now, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
the Canucks. I think they're just playing good. They can edge us out.
Yeah,
and we'll see how this game ends. Another game today, later, starting in about 15 minutes or so. The New York Islanders and the Capitals, with the Islanders leading 1-0, the early one. I still think.
I told them, man. Harry Trotz is just facing his old school.
4-2.
Yeah, it's just he is just such a structured defensive system, and as like you saw against the Pens last year, like he was making our lives a living nightmare. So I do think that this goes either 6 or 7 games, but I am going to stick with the Caps. So
I think the Caps.
I think
we'll see how it happens tonight. If the Islanders go up 2-0,
if they go up 2-0, that's a tall task. Like, especially against that team, you're asking for trouble there.
But I'm gonna, as of now, I still, even before I would pick the Caps. Going into the West here for a bit. Game 3 is later tonight between the Stars and the Flames. Series tied at 1 apiece. With game 2 went to the Stars 5-4, and then game 1 went obviously the Flames 3-2. So these have been close games. I was still hinting going to the Stars on this one, but
actually no. I have Calgary here. Just a hunch here, but I think I'll go with Calgary.
Then we get back to the East. Game 3 is tomorrow or today, Saturday at noon. Bruins and Hurricanes, series tied at 1 apiece.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good series. It just both really fun teams. I mean, I think I'm gonna go with Carolina here. I'm really liking Carolina here, and they are a very fun team, and and as we have been seeing with Rask, he's really inconsistent. I think I'll go with Carolina here.
These have been close games.
Yep.
The first game went to 2 OTs. Bruins sneaking out one. I might have to lean to Carolina. Boston, I don't think won a game in the round robin.
Yep.
So they've not not coming in, and they were I think the number 1 seed going in. We talked about Avalanche Coyotes, and I believe the last two we need to talk about today, Saturday at 7:30. Lightning and Blue Jackets. This series also tied at 1 apiece.
Well, if it's hopefully it's nowhere near as long as game 1. 5 overtimes and man, poor Columbus. They just had to been just so deflated after that one. But who do you got there?
I'm gonna still go with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, just
might be barely beating them.
Yeah, like because you could just tell this is gonna be a dogfight of a series. But yeah, I'll agree with you.
And then game 3, the last one here in the West, Saturday at 8. Vegas Blackhawks. Vegas is up to nothing.
Vegas is just just such a much better team. It's just like
I don't see Blackhawks coming back now.
I mean, honestly, it wouldn't even surprise me if this ended up in a like 4-game sweep here. It's been pretty lopsided so far. So yeah, I will go with.
So I think that's pretty much NHL there.
Yep.
As much as we can talk about there.
Before we get into like your story, I was watching one of like a Rogan's podcast earlier today.
Yeah.
And he was kind of talking about like how he and some other people are like moving. If you guys didn't know, Rogan, he is moving into Austin, Texas, and Joey Diaz, another very popular comedian in LA, he's going back into Jersey, I believe. And like, Matt Rogan, he was talking about how so many people are just kind of fed up with the governor and everything over there, and just how overpopulated that LA is. Have you ever really thought about that, and just how just how dirty and just how many homeless people are kind of living across there?
Yeah, Skid Row out there. To be honest, I've never really thought about it much, but I know about it, and everybody goes to L.A. It's fancy. It's down the coves. It's Hollywood.
Yep.
And everybody's there, but the cost of living is just ridiculous.
Like Rogan, he was saying that was one of the most important reasons why he was just giving up so much of those taxes. But now with him going into Texas, like, he's getting every cent of that Spotify deal there. So I mean, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't left sooner, because pretty much wherever he goes, Matt, like, he's going to be successful wherever his podcast. People are going to be coming. They're going to be coming for him. Like, he is like one of the top 5 most successful podcasts out there right now. Into with his comedy, people are going to come to anywhere that he is advertised for. I mean, hell, if it wasn't for COVID, Matt, I would fully expect PBG paints will be sold out. Like, I just
damn close to it,
or pretty damn close.
Close to it.
So and I'm very angry that they have not pushed that back to
I think October 21.
I think
next year.
Yep. October 9th of 2021. Fuck you, COVID.
Yep.
Which when those went on sale, I was like, hurry up,
pick them,
because I was not sure how hot of tickets that those would be. So So we're definitely are planning on definitely going to that. Just
Whenever it is.
yeah, whenever that it happens, if COVID ever decides to fuck off and go away, and but yeah, and I'm also really sad though about Joey Diaz because like now, Matt, we're not gonna be getting any Rogan and Joey Diaz podcast for who knows when, and I'm sad.
Unless he Skypes in or something like that. Technology is there. They can do it.
Tremendous, as he would say. But like, I was really savoring in his conversation. I believe that was on Wednesday, and just the stories that man has are just like it's like
You don't believe they're true.
They don't feel real. Like he's talking about how he like took off a few kilos of cocaine off of the street and how he kidnapped someone and then he had to spend a certain amount of time in a jail. I'm just like, none of these feel real, but if you talk to any one of his friends, they validate every single word of those stories. So it's pretty crazy. And two, I also found out that he had been in LA since like 97, I think it was. And same thing with like Joe. He had been in LA since like 97, and he had said, hey, you know, I am at the point now where like I don't need to actually be here if I don't want to be. And he's so big now that it really doesn't matter.
He has the money and he has the fame. He can do wherever he
can
basically do whatever he wants.
Then sprinkle on a little bit of that Spotify, and you're just like, holy shit, this man is freaking rich. Have you seen did you see his one Instagram post of his studio and
no.
Oh man, this thing is going to be beautiful. It's on his Instagram.
I don't know why I'm not following him like a dummy.
Yeah, shame on you.
Yeah,
but I think he posted that like a week or two ago. But I mean, this thing, I'm very interested to see what the completed product is going to be, because I would assume it's going to be a lot bigger than what and probably a lot nicer than.
Oh yeah, that's a
yeah, right.
trippy ceiling, but that's probably
it's insane, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. But which I want to say he's going to be leaving pretty soon. Actually, I want to say it's in a like month or two. I want to say, but yep, they'll be all very interesting. Sad to see that he's not going to be in LA anymore, but hell, he'll still get some big guests. So that is never is going to really change there. But another thing I was thinking about as well, Matt, is about the fight companions. Like, are those gone now? I was thinking about that. I was like, damn.
Unless people fly or they do video chat or something.
Yeah.
Zoom it.
Yeah. Because I want to say I talked with a friend of mine who said like that like that Brendan Schaub is thinking about also moving as well into Austin. So like, because apparently him and like his wife have been looking at like houses. So you gotta think that's gonna be happening at some point. It just seems like a lot of
people want to move.
With the comedians specifically, because him and Joey, you can make and I'm arguing are the two biggest names in that market there. I mean, probably the only other name is probably bigger is Chappelle. So it's just like you gotta wonder if that's going to be a like ripple effect to force some more people there. But I just wanted to bring that up there. And like, Matt, yeah, Matt, you wanted to finish us off with something on the Twin Towers here?
The COVID strikes again. Apparently, or not apparently, the 9/11 memorial in New York, when they do the light beams in the sky,
Right.
will not happen this year due to safety concerns with the coronavirus. A spokesman for the National 9/11 Memorial Museum said they were worried about the health of workers who set up the display. I never knew it was that much people go into it. Yeah, so that's again not happening in.
That's a shame there.
Yeah, I figured I don't know how they can do it safely if everybody has a mask. I don't know what it really entails, but
that would be pretty hard. I feel to control too. I would think with that many people there, you know.
Yeah, at least the workers. I don't know how many people actually work on it, but nonetheless, kind of a
bummer.
A bummer for everybody. If a nice memorial there. So with that, I think we're gonna end the podcast here. Again, thanks for everybody for watching.
And by the way, if you stuck it out for the full 2 hours on our wrestling podcast, thank you.
Yes.
For that, we kind of went a little bit longer than I expected, but yeah, those I really like that format there. Definitely, it just feels that we are better talking about that on like Thursdays than like pretty much doing that
now.
Yeah.
So
especially.
Again, like you said, thanks for watching that. Again, that's every Thursday. As of now, it's 7 p.m. That is live on our channel. It's a live stream. And then with this, again, every Saturday at 3 p.m., every episode goes live on the channel. And then if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. All that good stuff. And for John, I am Matt. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.